And Jeff, we are going to debut a new segment right off the top of the show. We'll just get right into this. All right. We don't have a name for it, so I want to let the listeners decide. I think we have our favorite, but I want to hear some feedback. So we got a great idea from Jeremy Finestone, who's kind of a jack of all trades around here, hosts Speaking of Strong Style on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. And he came up with, I thought, clever name, Fontaine of Truth, right?
Fontaine of Knowledge, I believe.
Fontaine of Knowledge. Now that incorporates me, and it's a pun on my name, so it's clever, but doesn't really focus on you.
Like it. It's all about you.
I'm like Granny, right? My original idea, which I thought was lame, but I think Garrett likes it. I'm not sure. Hot Topics, but with an X, so we don't get sued.
Yes.
So and then the third one, which is my idea. And you know what? And you can let us know whether you like which of these three, or maybe come up with one of your own once you hear the segment. You think, but my third idea was Yelling at Clouds with Grandpa Dez and Old Man Hawkins.
Old Man Hawkins.
Yeah. So, and basically the idea is we're just gonna bounce around some, kind of hot button issues, over the past week. Mostly involving AEW, but we're not going to limit ourselves to AEW. Like if there's something like, Vince coming back, or, the Saudi sale that's going to be happening soon, and all that stuff, or, when Roman beats Cody at WrestleMania, we could talk about that. But for this show, first up, we want to talk about something that was all the buzz of Twitter at the end of last week. And it was Tony Khan on Friday afternoon announcing that, with no build, that Kenny Omega and El Hijo del Vikingo were going to be wrestling on Dynamite. And he called it an international dream match.
Mm-hmm.
How familiar were you with El Hijo del Vikingo before tonight?
I just knew the name.
Okay, me too. I mean, I was familiar with his accomplishments. Like, I knew he won the most valuable wrestler in Mexico. And I think he was the most valuable, like the Danny Hodge Award as well. So I knew he must be a big deal. Turns out I've seen him because he wrestled in Impact a few times, and I've watched Impact almost from day one. So I definitely saw his matches, but he didn't really resonate with me to where I remembered him. But that was also a few years ago. And I understand he's gotten a lot better over the last few years. So, but that's besides that, I mean, there were two distinct camps.
Yes.
Number one was, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh, hook it in my veins. And the other one was, who's Vikingo?
Mm-hmm.
So what ended up happening was that Tony Khan makes this announcement, and the whole Twitterverse is talking about it all weekend.
Wow. And the Twitterverse is scolding the other half of the Twitterverse all weekend.
But everyone's talking about it.
Okay.
So is he a mad genius?
No.
Okay. That was definitive.
Because Twitter doesn't matter a lot of times.
I guess we'll find out.
It's the bubble.
Yeah.
But I got mad at this, Paul.
Okay.
And I don't get mad at these things because this is a sacred cow mine. And people were doing within my orbit, in the as I like to lovingly call the record store employee wrestling fans. Hey, you know who he is now? Blah blah blah. I go,
oh my God,
that's not the point. The point is, this is television, and the point isn't that it's El Hijo del Vikingo. It's that it's a very special guest star, and this is a long tenured television tradition of you plug your guest stars. And you do a heavy sell of your guest stars, and you make an advertising campaign around your very, very special guest stars, because the aura of it being very special then makes it can't miss. It makes it a big deal that the AAA champion, or whatever they're called, whatever the official title was, I can't remember.
I think it's a AAA mega champion,
something like that, is coming to AEW, and he wants Kenny Omega or whatever. Everything about this was half-assed.
I assume that it didn't even come together until after Dynamite last week.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Why not wait then and build it?
Because he probably only had him for this show.
You had, well, okay. So you're getting him last minute for a show on Wednesday?
That's what I'm assuming.
Then I'm rushing the video packages to your NCAA games, and I'm
plugging
that's a very
good idea. Yeah,
and saying, "Ooh, we're going to make the heavy push here. This is like a sweeps push in November or February. That this guy's a big deal, and he's coming on to our show. What this was you should feel lucky to be on our show, type of a thing, and I'm not so certain of that, because God knows we're not still talking about Commander a few weeks later, are we?
Well, I brought that up, and I had 3 different people message me with variations on the "Who's This Guy" theme, and and I kindly explained to them, just like we just talked about, who he was and everything. But I also said I've never seen him. But then they're like, the next question, the follow up is, well, why isn't Kenny wrestling somebody on the roster?
That's a very good question. That's
a
question.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, because this is a dream match. Why is it a dream match?
Yes, and even in that, let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Because he is the champion of another federation. That makes it, and this title isn't on the line, which is odd in some ways.
And so is Kenny, by the way.
And Kenny doesn't hold a title.
Yes, he does. He's the IWGP US champion.
Is he?
Yes. And it wasn't for that belt either.
And it wasn't for that title either. Okay.
He won the belt in the best match of all time.
As you can see, I am not a New Japan historian.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know that. I had forgotten.
But you saw the match, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, I saw the match. Yeah,
yes.
You're correct.
You know what that is? It's kind of like Pacquiao and Mayweather, where they've had this awesome match, and it was for a title, but you had no idea what title it was.
The champion of Strikeforce is coming over to fight some mid-card guy or what? No,
it's Jake Shields and GSP.
This is a big deal, and we need to treat it as such. And we can't just do it's a again. I hate this. It's a dream match, because that just means, it's going to be well choreographed. It doesn't really matter who wins and loses, as long as we're being exciting. And you're going to get to see El Vikingo do some exciting moves, and they're going to be really smooth. And it's going to, we want to get lost in the kayfabe, Paul.
Here's what I wish they would have done. And I'm not saying that this is what they should have done, or even that they could have done. But what I would have liked to have seen was
effort.
Bring in Vikingo. That's great. Have him wrestle Ray Phoenix.
Yes.
Somebody else.
Someone who can make it look good.
Have Kenny wrestle somebody.
Yes.
Put Kenny against Stu Grayson.
Yes.
Or Takeshita. Or, like any number of these people. Roosh, Jungle Boy. Any of these people. And then you mentioned, this dream match.
The build.
Yes.
It's the build, Paul. Yeah. That's all we want is the
build.
Have
Kenny backstage watching the Vikingo match on a screen sideways like they do in WWE. And, I want to see this. And then you have Renee interview and say, you guys were supposed to have a match in October 2021, and it didn't happen because of your injury. And do you want that match now? And Kenny's like, of course I want that match.
And we can bring in the AAA politics of it all, even. And
we
can give them a little bit of a rub on this giant TV show in the States.
But that said, I assume that they probably only had him for the 1 week, so they couldn't do all that.
Yeah, but I don't think... I just don't think business is done that way, where whoever's running AAA picks up the phone late Wednesday night, Thursday night, and goes, yeah, you got him for Wednesday. Good luck.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I hope he shows up.
Yeah. Well, maybe he'll show up. Maybe he won't. Maybe he's Jack Evans.
If he's back next week and wrestling Ray Phoenix, I'm gonna blow my mind.
He shows up at one of the Mania shows.
Okay. Let's go to the second topic. I like this. This is good. This is gonna work.
I'm mad about this, Paul, because it's like the Love Boat. It's your guest stars need to be special, otherwise they're Charo, who needs the gig and is on there every week. I'm flabbergasted. This is Tony Can't Cook for me. That's what this is in the category. And I understand that people love the great matches, and they love, what did you give for a star rating? Blah, blah, blah.
5 stars. 5 stars.
But it doesn't. It's a business based around television, and you need to use the tenets of television to do this. And we announced it on Twitter, and it's a few days, and so all the snarky Twitter critics get that. Oh, you know who he is now? Yeah, I know who he is now. And I love him when he's standing up at Stand and Deliver for NXT in 2 weeks. Is he signed? Is he signed?
That's of course he's not signed.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Another hot button issue this week was the house show. Now, again, around the same time that they announced El Hijo del Vikingo against Kenny, they announced the first matches for the House Rules show. And I'm like, oh, that show's coming up. Must be in a couple weeks or something. It's like, no, it's tomorrow. Right? Maybe it was Thursday. They hadn't announced a single match yet. And so they announced 3 matches, Britt Baker and Sky Blue. I believe
a main event in any arena in this country.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy and Darby against Butcher and Blade.
Yes.
And the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and John Moxley against, is it the Beaver Boys? Silver and Reynolds?
I believe it was Silver and Reynolds, yeah.
Okay. Those are your matches. That's all that was announced.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, like that's it? And then I'm like, how are tickets doing? And I listened to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, and he said 1,100 tickets have been sold in a 3,000-seat building. This is what he said on Friday. Oof. And then I hear on Saturday that the show was sold out. And I'm like, wait a minute. They sold 1,100 tickets, and then they announced these 3 matches, and all of a sudden 2,000 people rushed to the turnstiles. I got to get to the show. No, Brian's information was wrong. And so this basically had been almost a sellout. Okay. Without a single match announced.
Okay.
So good for them.
In a 3,000 person building.
Yeah.
Which is small enough
in Troy, Ohio.
Okay.
You know, Moxley's hometown.
A home game for Moxley. Okay.
Right. And I think originally the only people that had been announced for the show were John Moxley and Britt Baker.
All right.
I might be wrong about that, but that's who you'd announce.
So you get the Pittsburgh people in too. Okay.
Doesn't matter who, it really doesn't matter who they're wrestling, in my opinion. Now, we heard all kinds of discord that, oh my God, if they're going to do house shows, you got to put better matches on. I don't agree with that, by the way. I think you got to put stars on the show, but I don't think you need to have, I don't think you need to put Blackpool Combat Club against the Young Bucks.
I don't either, but I do. I would love, look, if you're going to use the internet to your advantage, I want some of those stand-ups like Tuesday in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
With like Tony Schiavone in front of the blank thing. This Tuesday at the Troy Gardens, blah, 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 blah. And you have a couple of 15-second promos, people walking in and out type of thing. This feels like to me, though, that they were just relying on the brand, which
of course, I
don't think they're big enough to do that. Quite
frankly. Well, they work for Troy.
It'll work in certain places. I will agree. It'll work for certain size buildings.
Now, the other thing is, though, that their second house show, they've only got 2. Now, apparently, it said tonight that they're going to announce more soon. Okay. So, but the next house show is Calgary, and it's, I think, the second week of July, and they're booking it at an NHL arena.
A real NHL arena, or is it where the Flames play? Or
yeah, whatever that's called.
Or not where the Hitmen play. Okay.
Well, the Flames too.
No, it's the Flames building arena. I thought the Hitmen played in a smaller arena, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well, no. Okay, so Ryan Pike, our friend Ryan Pike, who covers the Flames for a living.
Flames,
so I believe what he had said was it is the same building as the Flames, and it is the only building in Calgary that they could do a show like this.
It's during the Stampede, which is
during the Stampede. Yep. But the ticket sales they had the on sale already, and they're very slow, but the prices are very high.
Okay.
Ryan paid, I think he said, just over $100 for his tickets. And maybe it's a 115, and
I can get 2 luxury box seats to the NXT show on Mania weekend for $100.
Oh, well, there you go.
Total.
So I don't know the exact numbers. I just know the tickets did not sell well on the on sale. But I mean, that's
because there's no matches announced.
No, it's 4 months away.
Yes.
So I do think that every market's going to be different.
Yes.
So for Troy, you can get away with announcing John Moxley and Britt Baker. For Calgary in an NHL building, you might need a little more than that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, my friend over at Voices of Wrestling, I will quote him, Joe Lanza, says, "You're a sucker if you buy a ticket before you know the lineup."
Unless you just want to see wrestling.
Unless you just want to see wrestling, yes, I agree.
Like when you buy tickets for Dynamite, you have no idea what.
No, that's true. But you go in there for the television experience.
Correct. Yeah. If you buy tickets for a house show, I mean,
you're there. You're there because of the happening, and that's also why. I mean, this will go into our third topic. But this is also why Forbidden Door 2 sold out so quickly. People are buying. I believe so.
I believe so. and for me, like, I will not buy tickets to a WWE house show.
No,
because I know, even though we're going to get, like, marquee matchups,
it's going to be fun. You're going to see your stars, and everybody's
but I
going to be
don't
able to
care.
do their chants around. But it's nothing really of note's going to happen. Right.
Whereas AEW, I'll buy because I feel like I'm probably going to get unique matchups that I wouldn't see anywhere else, and I think the guys are going to work really hard. I think Moxley will work harder in a house show than he probably does on TV, just because that's the way he's wired. And if they do, like Calgary, for instance, if I was in Calgary, I'd probably buy tickets because I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to do the Owen Hart tournament on that house show.
Okay. No, I mean that would be a draw. That would be definitely be a draw, I would think.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Like, I don't have any knowledge or anything.
I actually agree with you on your Moxley point, because he's still in CZW indie type of yeah.
And he'd rather be doing house shows. Okay, our third topic is, you brought up Forbidden Door. Tickets went on sale today, which I thought was odd because usually Thursdays that they go on sale. But and it's in Toronto. They announced that last week on AEW Dynamite from Winnipeg, and I was curious. I had actually a conversation that we should have recorded with Ryan Frederick in the clinch. We talked after the show, and we were talking about how we think the show is going to do. And he said, I'll give him credit. He said he thinks it's going to be a quick sellout, and I was like, I wasn't so sure because number one, it's not the first time in the market.
Mm-hmm.
AEW is not as hot as it was last year, and the ticket prices are probably going to be pretty high. The things working in AEW's favor, I believe, are that last year's show was so great, and then the other thing is, and this I think is the biggest one, the cross-border travel is so much easier now than it was a year ago. So you're going to have people from Canada theoretically could have gone to that show in Chicago last year. Right? That's where, or was it Detroit? I can't remember.
It was Chicago, I believe.
It was Chicago, yeah, but that's close. I mean, that's like a 3-hour drive from Toronto. Even for me, I could get to Chicago pretty easily. But they sold out, like, pretty much. Like, I think they're going to open up more seats, and so it won't look quite like a sellout once they open up more seats. But I think they've already sold 12,000 tickets.
They've sold a lot of them, yes.
Yeah, and that's before general public sale. Although I think that's overrated because everyone knows to just look for pre-sale codes. I mean, they did very well, and you obviously have a theory about why.
They didn't buy it for AEW. They bought it for New Japan.
Really?
And the hopes of having a super card, because these people are the types of fans, to me, that are still chasing. They're chasing this ghost that's never going to appear.
Okada Ospreay too. Omega Ospreay too.
Not necessarily that, but in the same realm, they think that someday they're going to get that super card that's going to rival those Tokyo Dome shows.
You think there's enough fans that feel that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we're still chasing it, and they're going to fantasy book all these things like we did last year. And I'm here to tell you, New Japan, I mean, we don't even know that the Forbidden Door is New Japan yet. It probably is. Let's put it this way. It probably is. But I mean, they could have a AAA super show with El Vikingo on it. But
they're not going to have both. I'll tell you that.
But this is the ghost that appeared in Long Beach. This is the ghost that appeared in Dallas for the supposed. Oh, look, it's a G1 super.
But those shows that you just mentioned didn't sell as many tickets as this.
No, it has AEW helping, but I mean,
this could be the same as why MSG sold out.
Yes,
for that show that Kenny and the Bucks.
We're hoping for the Omega Okada, Omega Ospreay at the top. We're hoping for Z, but what's going to happen is you'll get a match like that, and then you will get the fans who will say that no, Sonata and Yuta is just as good, and it'll be a good match on paper. Blah 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 blah. And
Blackpool Combat Club against LIJ or something.
New Japan is not here to help AEW. I hate to tell people this. They still have a stake in North America, and they still want to grow in North America. And North America is not as important to New Japan talent as New Japan is to AEW talent.
True.
Nobody ever talks about, man, I hope they send somebody from New Japan over for Revolution. No, it's all, man, can Bryan Danielson work at G1 this year?
Okay, wait, hold on. So you're saying I think AEW fans would like to see someone from New Japan come in for Revolution, but you're talking the other way.
They would love it, but that's
you're saying no New Japan fans are clamoring
no New Japan fans are saying that at all.
They're not.
New Japan's not saying that at all. But and the New Japan talent's not saying, hey, you know what? I'd really like to go over for a one shot at the third out of fourth best AEW pay-per-view or whatever.
I think they were a year ago, just because we had fans over here and they could hear the crowd reactions and everything. So I think there was an appeal a year ago. It may not be there now.
Yeah, but everybody's thinking the super card. That's more my point. And they're not getting the super card. They're gonna have a good card. It's gonna be good up and down. People are gonna praise the show.
It'll be good.
It'll get the same 115,000 buys it always does. But what's the point of the show? That's my question here. What is the big? Is it to help AEW? Is it to help New Japan? Is it to help both? Is it just to put on a nice show that everybody gets to see? The business part of it is what I'm getting bothered by. And when people go, well, I get people go, well, I guess they can't complain about the build now because it's sold out quickly. Well, no, people are buying a lottery ticket.
Well, there was no build.
No, exactly.
Just announced tickets.
Exactly, but it's like,
that's the build.
Are you going to complain about the build now? Blah, blah, blah.
I saw that in the Discord, and I actually got mad at somebody.
I will complain about the build because he's going to wait until 2 weeks out of the show and finally do some matchmaking, and then we're going to, look, it's Tanahashi on the ramp waving to Double J, hopefully.
I had a friend who has tickets to this show. He has not been to a show, never been to an AEW show, never been to a New Japan show. And he hasn't been to a show since the pandemic. So he's really excited, mainly because it's his first show. But he's not even that big of an AEW fan. He doesn't watch New Japan at all. But he just bought tickets because he felt like it was going to be a big show and because the last show was so well received. So that's why he bought his tickets. But I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah, but that's listening to the chattering class.
That's true.
And it's it's.
And he says to me, I don't even know what matches are going to be on the show. I said, yeah, and you're not gonna until about 10 days before the show.
If that.
yeah.
Might announce it on Twitter on a Thursday that there's a dream match on this.
But you know what?
Baby. And it'll be Eddie Kingston and
Yuji Nagata. No, that was last year.
Yoshihashi again or something.
Suzuki or something. But I mean, you know what? It worked last year. So yeah,
it was a good card last year.
They did a good number. They did the same buys as Revolution.
They did an average number for an AEW pay-per-view.
Exactly. Yeah.
There wasn't heightened interest in it.
So whatever AEW fans were not interested because there was New Japan was made up for by New Japan fans who were interested in seeing their wrestlers on a bigger
Everybody was
stage.
there to see the freak show aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if New Japan can carry the kids to a awesome pay-per-view type of a thing.
I bought it and I wasn't planning to.
I bought it too. It was fine. I mean,
I wasn't even planning to.
Doesn't mean I didn't complain about the build at all, though. I wanted it to feel like a big deal. I wanted it to feel like the WCW New Japan super shows. They built those things for months.
And we'll probably do it again this year.
Oh no, we're rampaged on the Friday before.
No, I'm saying we're going to complain about the build.
Oh yeah. I'll be here for that, and you people can write me at crapgame13 and tell me how.
And we'll talk about it on our new segment, whatever you listeners decide to name it.
Yelling at clouds.
I think yelling at clouds is the clubhouse leader.